You know, every single time you check the weather on your phone, or you book a flight online, or pay for your coffee with an app, you are using this incredibly powerful but totally invisible piece of technology. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret engine that makes our digital world tick, the API.
I mean, really think about it for a second. How does all that happen? It seriously feels like magic, doesn't it? You've got all these different apps made by completely different companies, and somehow they're all talking to each other, sharing information just to make your life a little bit easier. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not magic. The answer is the API.
So, what on earth is an API? Let's just break down the name itself. API stands for Application Programming Interface. Application is easy, that's just any piece of software, right? An app? But the real magic is in that word, interface. The best way to think of an interface is like a contract. It's a super strict set of rules that defines exactly how two different pieces of software are allowed to communicate with each other. It's the common language they both agree to speak.
Okay, to make this super simple, let's use an analogy that I think really clicks. Imagine you're in a restaurant. You are the client, you know what you want. The kitchen, way in the back, is the server. It's got all the stuff you need. Now, you don't just get up and walk into the kitchen and start grabbing ingredients, right? Of course not. You have an intermediary, the waiter. The waiter is the API. They take your very specific order, they go communicate it to the kitchen using a system everyone understands, and then they bring back exactly what you asked for. That waiter, that messenger, is what makes the whole system work smoothly.
So now we kind of get what an API is. But the next logical question is, why? Why do we even need them? Well, to get that, you've got to picture the early internet. It wasn't this connected web we know today. It was more like a bunch of digital islands. Every application was totally isolated, completely unable to talk to any other application. If you wanted to connect two of them, you had to build this custom, one-of-a-kind bridge every single time.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the before times. Total chaos. Isolated systems, which meant every connection needed its own custom code. It was incredibly slow, ridiculously expensive, and it just couldn't scale. Then, APIs came along, and everything changed. We moved to a world of connected systems that all follow standard rules. All of a sudden, development became fast, efficient, and innovation just exploded.
This change basically unlocked three superpowers for anyone building software. First, you no longer had to reinvent the wheel. Why build your own mapping system from the ground up when you can just plug into the Google Maps API? Second, you can build on the shoulders of giants. A tiny startup can create a brand new service just by cleverly stitching together APIs from other bigger platforms. And third, you can be everywhere at once. Think about Netflix. They use their own internal APIs to stream their massive library of content to your TV, your laptop, and your phone, all from the same source. It's incredibly powerful. All right, let's go back to our friendly neighborhood waiter for a minute. We get the big picture, but let's look at how this actually works in practice. What does that conversation between you, the waiter, and the kitchen actually sound like in the digital world?
It's really just a simple little loop called a request-response cycle. It goes like this. First, your app, that's the client, sends out a request. That's you telling the waiter your order. Second, the API takes that request to the server, our kitchen, which gets to work and processes it. And finally, the server sends a response back through that same API. That's the waiter bringing your food, or in our case, the exact data your app asked for. That's it. A request goes out, a response comes back. And once you know what to look for, you start seeing this pattern absolutely everywhere. Think about a travel site like Expedia or Kayak. They don't own any airplanes. So when you search for a flight, their app sends out a flurry of API requests, one to Delta's system, one to American's, one to United's. The airline's APIs then respond with the flight times and available seats, and Expedia just neatly displays it all for you on one page.
Or what about when you buy something online? When you hit that Pay Now button, the little online shop you're on doesn't handle your credit card number itself. I mean, can you imagine the security nightmare? No way. Instead, it makes a quick API call to a trusted payment company like Stripe or PayPal. They handle the secure transaction on their end and just send back a simple message, success or failure.
Here's another great example, a site like Social Blade that shows you analytics for YouTube channels. They aren't hacking into Google servers. That's not how it works. They are simply making a public API request to YouTube, asking for public stats about a channel. The YouTube API then happily sends back the data, view counts, subscriber numbers, and Social Blade can display it. It's all by the rules.
Okay, so here's a crucial point. The word API is a pretty general term. It's kind of like the word vehicle. I mean, a bicycle is a vehicle and a rocket ship is a vehicle, but you're going to use them for very, very different jobs. The same exact thing is true for APIs. They come in a few different flavors, each one built for a specific purpose.
So let's do a quick flyby of the big four, right? First up is REST. This is the most popular kid in school. It's that flexible waiter we've been talking about, perfect for most web apps. Then you have SOAP. It's much older and stricter, more like a formal legal contract with tons of rules. That extra security makes it a favorite for banks and big enterprise systems. Then there's GraphQL. This one's cool. It lets you place a custom a la carte order, asking for exactly the data you need and nothing more. This is super efficient, so it's amazing for mobile apps. And finally, you've got gRPC. Think of this as a Formula One race car. It was built by Google for one thing: insanely high-speed communication between a company's own internal services.
And the last way they differ is just who gets to use them. You've got public APIs, which are open to the world. Any developer can tap into something like a public weather data API. Then there are partner APIs, which are shared between specific companies for business reasons, but honestly, the most common type are private APIs. These are used internally inside a single company to make all of their own different computer systems talk to each other.
Okay, so let's zoom out for the big finish. This stuff isn't just a technical detail for programmers. The rise of the API has completely reshaped our digital lives, and it's paving the way for a future that's more connected than we can even imagine. This is why all of this really, truly matters.
Man, this quote just nails it. APIs really are the invisible backbone of our world. They are the universal language that allows for the incredible, seamless connectivity we now just take for granted every single day. They are the foundation that the modern internet is literally built on.
And the sheer scale of this, it's just mind-boggling. On just one online marketplace for APIs, there are over 10,000 public ones available. That's 10,000 different toolkits that any developer, anywhere, can use to build something new, something interesting, something powerful, without having to start from zero. It's a true explosion of digital creativity.
So, this is the world that APIs have built for us. A world where basically any piece of software can talk to any other piece of software. The old walls have crumbled. The number of potential connections is nearly infinite. Which leaves us with just one really exciting question. What are we going to connect next?